This type of Yerushalmi Shabbos in the article Ozbar edition. We're on Daf Ayin Vav Amrav, the fourth line down, Amar Mimona, which in the Vilna is on Samach Beis Amrav, counting down from the beginning of the Gemara. We have 3, 6, 8 lines down, Amar Mimona. So yesterday we had said Machlokes Chizkiya, what seems to be Machlokes Chizkiya and Rabbi Yochanan. Chizkiya said, if you have a basket full of fruit and you moved it from the inside to outside, the only way in which you're, and it's part of it's on the threshold, part of it's in Shus Rabim, the only way you're part of it is it's long fruit, which is still like Shun and Dluin, and still part of them are on the threshold, even though the other part is Shus Rabim. But if some of the fruit is completely Shus Rabim, you're chayiv. And Rabbi Yochanan seemed to say, not that way. Rabbi Yochanan said that no, if you have a plate or a basket, which is some of it's inside, some is outside, so then and you moved inside the basket from one side to the other side, you're potter, unless you remove the entire basket. It seems like the even small fruit, which is in the Shus Rabim, you're going to be potter. So Amray who, according to Korban Edom Rigbaz, is going on Chizkiya. But according to Bnei Moshe, and seems to be work out better with the rest of it's going on Rabbi Yochanan. And asking how according to Rabbi Yochanan it can be potter. So let's read the Bnei Moshe. Bnei Moshe says, Rabbi Mona said, Kum Rabbi Yossi, in front of Yossi, to potter parts, to talk about a basket without walls. We should have a kasher Mona. Rabbi Mona had difficult. That which Rabbi said, if you uproot it, kulo ka'achas, until you uproot the entire basket. Because why would that be? It must be that sorrow have a reshus b'fnei atzmahu. That the sorrow, the basket is like its own reshus. Or karmelis chashiv, and it's a karmelis. Shein loish kushus yochel loishus arabim. It's interesting yochel norishus arabim. You can't. In that case, I feel akro kula ka'achas. Even removed it in its entirety, fotzio, and removed it from reshus yochel to arabim. Am I chayev? Why are you chayev? It is a kemitat to the karmelisu. You're taking that for Shus Rabim, the basket of Shus unto itself. So you take it's simply moving whatever you're moving into a karmelis. Now moving the object from Shus to Rabim, but you're perhaps moving a karmelis, but not moving something from Shus to Rabim. You can't move a karmelis from Shus to Rabim. You can't move a Rishus from Rishus to Rishus. Only object from Rishus to Rishus. Hilka Boil made every story wanted to say that Mary Besorot Ports Bachas Muchaisab. It's only about a basket which is open at least one of its sides. It's Batam Matoris Rishus, and therefore no longer has the status of Rishus. Vavi Kamotzi Kalim Chafotim Rishus Yochel Rishus Rabim. So now you're talking moving a Kali with objects from Rishus Yochel to Rishus Rabim, and that's why you're going to be chayev. So according to this, if you actually move a real basket, which is complete, also has sides on all sides, it's already be potter because you're moving a reshus, not an object. So Gemara rejects this. Amalei said, "What ninon kupo?" It says Rabbi said it says a basket. The basket isach member kupo pruta. There's a basket. All baskets we're talking about when we move baskets are broken baskets. Baskets open on one side. Ma'ikadun. So what's the conclusion? Right? In other words, Rabbi Yossi responding by Moshe. So let's see Pnei Moshe again on this. Ma'ikadun. Shima de Milsa Rabbi Yossi. His conclusion is saying, "My termina bad mechayv b'botzias kula." Why can't Rabbi Yochanan when you remove the entire thing? Are you chayev? Lo mechashin lo k'shus ne'atzmo. You don't consider not k'shus ne'atzmo. Lo shav karmelis. It's not comparable to a karmelis. There's nothing which can be carried into a Rishus Rabim. V'nasa karmelis, which becomes a karmelis el adam bilvad, except for a person. Klomar, meaning, but on a talta b'Rishus Rabim, a person who's carrying Rishus Rabim, ashkam beid ein el karmelis. We find it's a case we see like a karmelis. Nam pergud the Ervin, like we learned in the 10th Perk Ervin, omed adam b'Rishus Yachid. Person can stand Rishus Yochid and carry in Rishus Rabim. Shabbi Yishratzon Rishus Yochid, even though he himself is standing Rishus Yochid. Afil Hachi Noito Sachev Rishus Rabim Mikan Menichel Bekan. He can move it to an object Rishus Rabim from one side to the other. Vachol Yitzin Chutz Arba Amos, as long as it doesn't move it outside for Amos. The Karmelis Chashvin Lei. We consider him like a Karmelis. So he shouldn't take more than 4 Amos. I became Lonasu Karmelis. But Kalim don't become a Karmelis. They ain't Karmelis but Kalim. There's no such thing as a Karmelis in a Kali. Elin Kano is a Gavoa, Sora, Chava, Arba. Unless it's huge. 10 tefachim high and 4 by 4 tefachim wide. Does Kishus Yachidu. But that's like Rishus Yachid. V'hilka lo tzich look more apart. Some people say it's a broken basket, and Gilin Hashas actually references the Magen Avraham, who says that says in fact that we basket ain Karmelis bekalim. So there's no issue of anytime you take out a basket, you're chayiv. As long as you move the basket from one rishus to another rishus, the basket does not become a Karmelis. There's no such thing as no matter how big it is. Unless it's the dimensions actually which become Rishus Yochid. Okay. Chizkiah said, Hotzi Chavilim Rishus Rabim. If you took a bundle from Rishus Yochid to Rishus Rabim, actually Nichla Rishus Rabim, before you put on Rishus Rabim, Haisa Reish Lo Malam Me'asora, its top was above 10 tefachim. Hovein Kula Nichla Rishus Rabim Potter. Since it's not completely resting in Rishus Rabim, it's Potter. This is a similar case in the Bavli with a kaveres. The Korban explains. The claim shenach kula before it comes to a complete rest of rabbi. Part is a makam ptur, which is above 10 tvachim, which is an exempt area. It's not from Teyam Shus Yoshus Rabbi. Shem B'tchila Nach Miktsas Achavil B'Shus Rabbi. Initially, part of the bundle was Shus Rabbi. Ve'nechayiv Shetunu Kula, and it's not chayiv until it's completely at rest Shus Rabbi. Chosav V'Nach Osa Miktsas Potter, and when it's in that part, when it's that area which Makam Ptur, it's Potter because Havli Kamil Moitzi. Mixas kupashu potter. It's like you take a part of a kupa that you're potter. So in other words, the fact that part of it extends over, since it is above 10 tefachim and part of it remains above 10 tefachim, you're potter. You're not considered you were motzi shus because it's ogud. It's to connect it still to the makam ptur. The next case we don't have in the Bavli. If you took out a beam from Rishus Yochid to Rishus Rabim, actually Nichla Rishus Rabim, it was so huge that before you put it into Rishus Rabim, Nichlas Rishus Yochid Acheres, part of it is resting another Rishus Yochid. Hovein Kulan Nichla Rishus Rabim, but since its entirety is not rest Rishus Rabim, you are exempt on it. Rabbi Yochanan Eben Shin Nesuna Rishus Rabim Gavoa Asar. If you have a stone which is in Rishus Rabim, it's a huge stone. Gavoa Sora Rechav Arba, it's 10 tefachim high and 4 by 4 tefachim wide and long. So on top it becomes or if it was hollow inside it. Somebody who moves things from in it or on top of it, which is arriving. Because it's a Shmuel Amar, Shmuel said, if you have a basket full of fruit, and soon which is Gavoa Asor Chavar, which is 10 by 4 by 4, is potter. If you use to move stuff from inside the basket to outside and vice versa, you're potter. Ma Polik says more. Is he asking? Is he arguing on Rabbi Yochanan? So the Gemara says no. Kam b'shav chatzida, kam b'shloav chatzida. I should have said shared a Pnei Moshe before in the case of Korah. So before I go to the Farshim on this answer, let me say that Pnei Moshe. Hoti Korah Ruka. V'loya v'yochol anicha kam b'shusraim. Couldn't put down that b'shusraim actually it's like bia until you had to pick it up. Uvora shel shusiyach acheres. They're so massive went to another shusiyach your potter. Habusa tveik mashas. So a big chiddush. Abi shloya rosha makam ptur. Even though its head was not, it didn't reach Malcolm Ptur. It couldn't completely be in Shusrabim. I guess right now it should. I don't know the Matthias is, but therefore it was your Potter. Okay, getting back to our case over here. What's in between Havcha Lovcha? So Korban says Mishani Kan Klomar Lo Plige. Shmuel Arab Shavcha Kupa Al Tzida. so it's not 10 tefachim high. The chiyuv shtamish pachas yasor shtamish. So now it's you use from the part of it which is not 10 tefachim high. Shenik basar lamala b'doifen. So 10 tefachim higher up on the wall when it's standing right up. Shamini shtamish. You're not using there. El tocha kupa. And you're using inside the basket. I'm not sure what it says specifically. Inside the basket, why not on the side of the basket? But in any event, which is less than 10 fachim. So in Yerushalmi Erevin in Perkim Elohim, it's a little bit different. There it says, "Roi hu lahavcha ulabatu shusiyach sheba." You can turn it sideways and cancel with shusiyachid. And the Tosefta and Uktzin Torah says about a tavla sheyesh lo lizbiz. The tablet which has a rim, because he don't put it on the side. Ain't a machsheres, it says roim. It's not machsheres roim, and the Rambam is Perish Mishnayos Uktzin says this from the Yerushalmi Kibshuto that since when you turn on its side, it's no longer it's no longer the rim is not effective anymore. So therefore, it's not considered to be a keli. So here also, here it seems like you actually turn it aside, but the Yerushalmi in Erevin, it sounds like since it's a keli and it's suitable to sort of turn on its side, so therefore, even the internet side would be kancha roy laf chatzida, kancha low roy laf chatzida. Stone, I guess, there's no such thing as putting it aside being mabato shame stone, whereas a keli you can put it aside mabato shame stone. So kind of like amigo, even now it's not Rishus Yachid. But the Pashut Pshat is not that way. The Pashut Pshat here in Shabbos is that it depends on which side it's resting. It's resting on the side which gives it a 10 tefach high height, or it does not. Okay, Rabbi Bun Bar Chia boy, we're going to be asked. Akar Emer Shusa Rabbi. You picked up an Emer Shusa Rabbi Gavasar V'Rchava Arba, and was 10 tefachim high and 4 by tefachim in dimensions. Mad Avale. What is its status? Do I say Kamishtamesh Yitoch L'Shus Rabim L'Shus Rabim L'Tocha? Do we say it's like, let's say coordinator? In other words, evidently, you took a stone which was not, which I guess it's on its side. It was the best way of assuming that it's happening. But now and then you put it right side up, and now it's all of a sudden Shus Rabbi. So do we say that you're moti from Shus Rabbi to Shus Yachid? Because I see a kiras achayvetz, I see a Shus Yachid b'adei adari kasyan. The kiras achayvetz and the making the Shus Yachid come together. Oh lo. Or do I say no? It's not considered to be moving Shus Yachid. You moved an object, it was Shus Rabim. At the end, it became a Shus Yachid. But right now, you're just moving objects Shus Rabim from place to place, and unless more for Amos, obviously, you'd be potter. So, Mad Overlay, again, can be Shtamish and Tochel Shus Rabim, Shus Rabim is like going from Shus Rabim into a Shus Yachid into it. Guys, you put it turn it on the other side. Or Mishus Rabim, Shus Rabim, just another Shus Rabim. In other words, within Rosh Hashanah, and only if you move the 4 hours, you'd be chayav. Not if you, not for, it's not like Motzi Mishus L'Shus. Rabbi Gesar Armin Am Rabbi Yochanan, boy, the Rabbi Gesar Rabbi Yochanan asked, before I say, Rabbi Gesar Armin Rabbi Yochanan, boy, Nasa Chamisha Gabi Chamisha. You put 5 on top of 5, so it's a similar case. Like the Korban says, tell b'shus harayim gavah chamisha. Yeah, it was 5 tvachim high, v'lachav arba and 4 tvachim wide, so it's like Carmelis. V'lachav emishus yagin took a stone from b'shus yagin v'nasna gabav and put it on top of it. Like taking from Shus Yachid to Carmelis, because the Sharia tell Carmelisu, because it tells the Carmelis, Shlosha Batisha Carmelis Habe. We saw the Rabbanim Miyukovin, and at least in this Rabbanim. Or the Manachas Chayfetz, so Asir Shus Yachid Ba'adi Adoni Kasyon. No, or maybe no, you made the putting down the object, you made Shus Yachid. V'afil L'chatchila Shari. And it's permitted even L'chatchila. V'achi Boy, Im Tim Tzlom Riboy Lei. And this is Imtim Tzilomar corresponding to the previous case. Imtim Tzilomar, okay, Evan Shus Rabim Gavoa Sara Rechava Arba Potter. Even you say that you uprooted an Evan, which is Rabbi, for a Sora and Ruchav Arba, Potter, Kiz, Chavetz, Asir, Shus Yochin, Bali Adorika, Asyon. They came together. Mi Boile, Mutazos came with Chai Gavna, Fil Chatchila. The question whether you're allowed to do it Lichatchila in the scenario of this putting it from Shus Yochin to a Carmelist. Let's see inside again. Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yochanan Boyd, Nasa Chamish Rabbi Chamish Ma'at Avilon. Ki Mishtama Shus Yochin, Carmelist, and Mikama Shus Yochid, which would be no good. Or Mishus Yochid Acheres. Or it's like going from Rishus Yochid to another Rishus Yochid. So the Bnei Moshe says a little bit differently. Let's see inside. Klomar Dilma Koka Gav Lo Mikri Ki Mishtami Shus Yochid Karmas Karmas Shus Yochid Lo Asul Chatchila Adavi Kilu Motzi Mishtami Shus Yochid Shus Yochid Achet Ein Bo Shum Iser. V'Achanami Is Tias Heli or Natil Man La Klumu. Well, basically it's the same thing as Korban actually. I'm not sure why I thought it was different. Anyway, V'Lev Shitu Hanach Bai. These questions were not resolved. Okay, Halacha Gimel. Hamotzi, somebody takes out something from Shus to Shus, or down Shus from the same thing. Ben Bimino, Ben Mismola, whether it's his right hand or it's left hand. So Cheko within his garment, in the pocket or something like that. Oktef on the shoulder, Chayev. All these cases are Chayev for Otzah. Because Shekain Maso B'nei Kos, B'nei Kos and Midbar, we're carrying stuff in all these locations on their body. Lacha Yodo, if you took something on the back of your hand, Baraglo on your foot, in a way which is not normal, obviously. Befiv in your mouth, Marpeko on your elbow, Ba'ozno your ear, Visara your ear from Doso in your wallet, your bag, the pila mata, but it's upside down. Between your it's actually a hollow belt. But in your hollow belt, it's upside down. Between your belt and your shirt. Uba chefes chaluko, the in the hem of your garment. Beminolo in your shoe, sandalo in your sandal, potter, shlo tikder chamotin. These are considered all kil achar yad, not the normal way of doing otzah, and therefore you are potter. So the Gemara asks, Rabbi Yossi boy me'ato tika geras al ktefu chayav. Okay, if you take out a geras wood on your shoulder, you're chayav. Hey, masa b'nei kas. Is this masa b'nei kas? The Chidushei Radal says a nice shot. Not sure if he has a Radal on the page in the Vilna, in the art scroll, but it's on the page in the Vilna. But he does bring it down at footnote 16. So Ikar Perush reading Radal inside. Shukushia. It's a question. The Masab Nekas Neshia Masui Koved. Since it's heavy load. Koved Shader Kain Noso Koklev. You carry it on your shoulder. Ava Grogeris. A little piece of food, you put it on your shoulder, that'll be other, you carry it in your hand. It says that the Rambam writes something similar about putting stuff in your head. Okay, so that's the case, it has to be derech to carry in that way. So that's a question. It's a question, but then it doesn't resolve it, the more it leaves it difficult. Then it goes another thing. Sieve, it says, Ubkudas, Carbon Radal says, Ubkudas Kule Milton Bemilsa Bifnatzim is a separate statement. Uksiv, it says, Ubkasazar ben Arona Kohen, that which Elazar, the son of Aaron, was in charge of in the Midbar, Shem and Amor, was the oil for the menorah, Ktoras Hamang, the Ktoras Minchas Atomid, the flour for the Mincha, the Shem and Mishcha, and the oil anointing. And how do you carry it? All of this is carried by Elazar, evidently himself. Shem Amor b'yamino, the oil, the light for the menorah in his right. Ktoras Asami with smolo, the Ktoras in his left. Minchas hatamid shel yom tluya bizroo, in the Minchas hatamid for the daytime was hanging on his arm. So there's the Radal brings on the Meiri explains that it means on his shoulder, because we said in the Mishnah that the Bimer Peko, presumably the same as Ro, is your potter, And the Yontif says was hanging on some keli, like a handbag, on his door. There he's chayiv. Um, the Radal seems not to be sure about how that halacha. The Mashbiach says that it was on his elbow, and it's a contradiction to our Mishnah, and also the plate in his belt, which we're going to see momentarily. So therefore, it must be. As Mashbiach says, the Gemara is inferring that there is derech hotzah in this manner, and the Darim Chashav evidently does take out things in this manner, like Elazar did. And when I say no, it's not derech hotzah, and this is different because this is the avodah, and there's no gedula paltin shel melech in the palace of a king. There's no people don't have to do things in a normal way in order to be considered to be significant. People do things whatever way works for the king. Okay, so that's what Gemara says. We'll come to that in a moment. Shemen HaMishcha. First, Gemara asks, where was the Shemen HaMishcha? Rabbi Avu Shem Rabbi Elazar Kamin slowly kind of a little bit from dust, so he had like a small plate in his belt. So again, according to Mashbiach, it's difficult. It's a question, right? If you're going to say that he was an insignificant person, then like Carbonata says, therefore, since he's insignificant, they made all this avodas, and made by an insignificant person, it would be maybe these are considered to be derech hotzah. Rabbi Shimon Levi, see when the Nisiya and the Levi, no, is the most chashuv of all. The Nisiya of Nisiya Levi, Lazar ben Aaron. Derech duchnin hava. It's kind of like evidently like a duke. He was in charge of everybody else. So the Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Amar Markol Haya. Markol was a position in the base of Hamikdash. Markol was a high office. Tiny, Rabbi Yehuda said, "V'lomani kroshmo Markol." Why is the Markol called a Markol? Shumar alkol. He says something about everything. Ella she'eng dula b'faltin shemach. There's no greatest of Pal's king, and therefore, whatever way he was told to do it, that was or was able to do it. That was derech hotzah in the midbar for that purpose, and not necessarily for anybody else. Rabbi Varim is a deshen. Says the Kohen should put on his special uniform and lift up the deshen. Obviously, even though he's very chashuv, he puts on his he puts on whatever garment he puts on, and he goes to take it out of the ashes. There's no greatest than the palace of the king, meaning everybody does what they're supposed, whatever they have to do. By the way, it's a big issue among many sources. This midah bad for the Trumas Hadeshin was a beged pachus. Was it a less significant garment? And we're told, even though he is a great Kohen, he puts on his apron and goes out and takes out the ashes. Or midah bad, actually, contrary, was a very significant garment. The Maram Zano, Yerushalmi Shabbos brings that from the earlier sources. So the question is, this midovat, is it a lesser garment or a more significant garment in which is taking out the ashes? Either means that basically means the same thing. Either means that you see that despite the fact that he was very significant and wore even a special garment, still took out the ashes. You say, despite the fact that he was very significant, he will put on the garment, the apron, and he took out the ashes. Okay, halacha dal. If you had in mind to be motzi in front of yourself, which is a higher form of hotzah, and went behind you somehow, such as, you had some bundle, and you're supposed to be in front of you and switch to the back of you, part of you're exempt, because it's not, it's a lesser form of hotzah. In front of you, had in mind to carry back of you, but in front of you came in front of you, chayev. They said, in truth, Isha chogeres b'sinar, a woman who's wearing an apron, which evidently normally goes from side to side, whether it's in front of her or after, behind her, she's chayiv. She can really because that's the normal thing with this type of apron. It goes around and around. People who are the agents of the king to deliver the letters or postmen, they also have this kind of garment which goes from front to back, so it's no more derech in the front than it is in the back. And I believe that brings us to the bottom of the Amud Beis, and we will stop here.